Hello, Donna D'Angelo from the Institute of Christ Consciousness. Welcome to our 9th installment of the Correcting Time series. I've been talking about our emotional history from a collective and personal standpoint. Our emotional history is a very large bandwidth of feeling information, you might call it, the way in which we, as a collective culture, have approached life and the evolution of our world to a higher level of consciousness. We are now in the phase of bringing in more truth and love into our emotional history so that we can heal our world of the social ills that have plagued all of our cultural institutions from the earliest times of when we deviated from the divine plan due to the planetary rebellion. One of the most important components of healing the emotional history, both personal and collective, is in this concept of taking responsibility for oneself's actions and feelings. And as well as a collective culture, taking responsibility for recognizing that we have an important role to play in the evolution of our social conscience. One of the things that's occurring in this correcting time phase is that we are given an invitation by our divine spirit parents to heal the wounds of the past. One of the ways in which you can participate in this great healing time is to step up and to recognize that you are taking responsibility for your thoughts and feelings and to ask for divine help to overcome those feelings of limitation, self-doubt, insecurity, unworthiness, that you can stand and feel the truth of who you are as a child of God and be supported in that validating love that is the foundation of all human consciousness and its evolution toward a higher level. Many people are looking for divine intervention during this time of such material chaos. This is actually occurring, but not in the way many people expect. Some people have an expectation that divine intervention will somehow suddenly or even magically relieve all of the social pressures and emotional ills that we have heaped upon ourselves, and that all of a sudden humanity will become aware of a higher nature within. Well, this is wishful thinking, because we were not designed to evolve suddenly, but slowly through our own innovation, our own internal willingness to move toward higher cultural awareness of the divine plan that is seated within each individual. So in taking responsibility for your own healing and spiritual growth, you automatically receive more divine intervention. It's really that simple. But the process is not always easy because it is a step-by-step unfolding of who you are, to look at those emotional experiences that you've had through the lens of spirit that will broaden your understanding of what has happened and help you see it from a different lens through love and compassion. And when that comes in, as I've said before, it releases that emotional charge so that your mind is clear of some of the feelings of unworthiness, so you can see the situation that occurred with a new perspective. Now, this is happening at a collective level too. And as part of our social contract with Spirit to evolve toward a heavenly culture, we as a collective planet must take more responsibility at this individual level that we are going to participate in the unfolding of the divine plan. Now, when we look at all of the ways in which our social planetary culture is operating against the divine plan, those problems of poverty and illness and lack of education, this is all part of what needs to be outworked. That we are growing in our awareness of who we are as a planetary culture in relationship to the greater whole of the universe in which we live. And then the greater reality beyond that, where all of these other realms are existent in multidimensional levels. So this is a big thing that's happening on our planet. But the first step is to recognize that we have a responsibility to the whole. We are not individuated parts acting on our own. This is part of the rebellion mindset, this self-centeredness that keeps us in isolation from one another and breeds those social ills of conflict that lead to arguments and then eventually at a collective level to war. So when you begin to take on this level of self-responsibility, it is a big responsibility because now you are saying to yourself, I don't have all the answers, but I know that there's something within me that wants to support me and help me heal my emotional history so that I can stand in the truth of who I am and begin to feel that inner validation. So this is an important time, and many people are still operating in this sense of separation and don't recognize their responsibility to the whole. But the whole is only as strong and spiritually alive as each of its parts. So it behooves us to recognize that responsibility is not just something that we think about from time to time, but it is a daily walk of life. To continue to open yourself up to see the things inside of you that still need that healing touch of spirit. And God's love through our divine parents is so strong. It is so nurturing and comforting that every emotional experience that we've ever had, both individually and collectively, can be healed through the divine balm of love and forgiveness. And this is where we are now at our stage of planetary evolution. We are at a place where we are being encouraged to heal our emotional history, to forgive the past, forgive what's happened to us in the past, to forgive what's happened to our ancestors in the past, to forgive what's happened in our cultural evolution, and to trust in the divine unfolding of this great, beautiful plan of evolution to Christ consciousness that is now in place and working to change the way we approach life in general. So I'll leave you with these thoughts today and encourage you to ask that question within. Have I taken full responsibility for my life? Have I taken full responsibility for my healing? And when you ask that question, be honest with yourself, because your spirit within you knows the truth. And even though you may rationalize that you've done what you've needed to do, there is always more. Because we can live as living lights of love and peace and compassion for our brothers and sisters. And I'm not suggesting that I'm fully living in that Christ consciousness state, but I am taking responsibility for my life, and I have to step up and look at those things in my life where I'm still out of alignment and out of misstep. And when I do this, I get so much insight and compassion for my humanity that just says, keep going, keep going. You're on the right path. Forgive yourself. Treat yourself gently and kindly so you can pass on that dynamic to others. And so you have everything to gain in taking responsibility for your spiritual transformation and for your healing. Because healing really needs to occur at this deep emotional level. Because our bodies are tied to our emotions. And if you seek physical healing, and if you want God to heal you, then take responsibility for how you think and feel, and ask for help in overcoming all of those experiences that you've had deeply within you, some that you know, and some that are hidden through the unconscious levels of mind. Because all can be revealed, and it is revealed in an environment of safety and security, so you can let that go and feel a inner, what you might call quaking or quickening within you to help you shift your awareness into higher levels of thinking that your spirit wants you to perceive. So let's leave it for here for today. And I wish you joy in taking responsibility for your life, because your emotional history is important, and it leads and it feeds the overall collective emotional history. And when you take responsibility for this and are healed of the past, you become more empowered in who you are, and your gifts and your purpose become more readily recognized within. So thank you for joining me. I leave you with these thoughts today. And I hope you'll take this within and sit with this in meditation for a few minutes, so your spirit can translate this into your mind in a way that brings you peace and hope, comfort and joy. God bless you on your path, and may you keep growing in this beautiful state of Christ consciousness, which is your divine birthright to experience. Bye-bye for now.